Welcome to another exciting episode of ELFCO TV. I'm your host, Aimee West, and today we are going to be making gluten-free carrot chai bread. We are located right next door to the East Lansing Food Co-op inside their community space. This is a room that they have dedicated for people to use their portable kitchen for classes and things like that. So we're going to make bread today, gluten-free bread, which has been very important to certain people, especially if you have allergies, celiac disease, things like that, and maybe even you're just trying to cut out gluten out of your diet. We are going to start with 3/4 of a cup of sour gum flour. And we are using Bob's Red Mill. And I like Bob's Red Mill. They have a lot of gluten-free options, which is very nice. And they also have mixes that you can buy, like pancakes and cakes and stuff if you want to make something, very quickly. But they have a lot of gluten-free flours. So now we need 1/2 cup of brown flour, and I just grabbed enough out of the East Lansing Food Co-op's bulk bin because I don't need a lot of it and I want to keep it fresh. And this is a great way to just get it out of the bulk. Next, we're going to use 1/2 cup of tapioca starch or potato starch. And the reason why we're using so many different flours is that this will help with the flavor. It will also help it so that it's not too grainy. I need 1/4 cup of coconut flour. And I know some people don't like coconut, but once you bake in it, you will not taste the flavor. My daughter does not like coconut, and she loved this bread. I keep a lot of my sugars in tins. It just helps keep bugs out of them. Throw in a bay leaf and you're good. I need 1/2 cup of organic sugar. And we also need 1/2 cup of brown sugar. And we're just going to mix that right into the same bowl. We've got a lot of lovely colors. We've got 4 different flours and then 2 different sugars. Now what we're going to do is we are just going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And then 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Tablespoon of cornstarch, and if you are allergic to cornstarch, you can also use arrowroot starch, and this is just to help. This is to help thicken it. And now this is 3/4 of a teaspoon of xanthan gum. Since I don't normally use this, I did what I always do. I go to the bulk department at ELFCO and pick up just a little bit of it. This is what's going to give us all this great flavor inside this bread. We are going to add a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. We are going to grab a teaspoon of ginger. and then an eighth of a teaspoon of ground cloves. Ground cloves. So, look at that. So you look at all those flavors. You're going to add all the dry ingredients together. So we are going to start with our 3/4 of a cup sourdough flour. We are going to do 1/2 cup of brown rice flour, 1/4 of a cup coconut flour. Now we're going to do the brown sugar and the white sugar. And we are going to add all of our great powders and flavorings. So now we're going to mix all these dry ingredients together. And the reason why we want to mix all the dry ingredients together first is because we have so many of them that we want them to mix well and mix completely. It's okay, I'll just use a fork. Look how nice and fluffy that looks. And that is exactly what we want for our bread. We want it to be well mixed. All right, now we're going to add our wet ingredients. We are going to start with 2 grade A eggs. I know we've touched on this before, but you want to get this beautiful orange yolk color. That's the color that you're looking for from your eggs, and you want to get that yellowy, orangey color in the egg whites as well. You don't really want it to be white, you want it to be more of a yellow, because that's where you get all your flavor from. The fresher the egg, the better the flavor it will get. So I always try and make sure I get grazing fields from the co-op, or another, if you have a local farmer that's by you or something, just try and get the freshest eggs that you can, because that will definitely affect the color and the flavor. Now we're going to add 1/2 cup of olive oil. So, and this bottle I have reused and reused so many times because I keep filling it in the bulk department. So, and every so often I'll get a new container and fill that up over and over again. All right, we are going to be using 1/2 cup of milk, and I am using this from Calder's. They are a local dairy by us, and they put it in these lovely vintage glass containers that I just adore. It reminds me of when I used to visit my grandma down in Livonia, and they get it delivered. We're gonna mix this up. So, and the nice thing about this is you don't need a mixer, you can just mix this by hand. Okay, so we're gonna set that off to the side. And now we're gonna grate our carrots. And we need a cup of these. This took the longest to do last night. This takes a little bit of time to grate all these carrots, but this will add flavor and texture to your bread, and that's something that's very important. So, because you want everybody to enjoy this, not just gluten-free people. But We want everybody in the family or the group to have a little bit of this. So we're going to add the carrots. Half cup of raisins. And I actually pre-measured these, so we are just going to add those right in. And then we are going to add chopped up walnuts. So, and if you don't like walnuts, you could do pecans, or if you don't like raisins, you could do cranberries, you could do, you know, I mean, this is a recipe that you can definitely mess with, you know, and have fun doing it as well. Because, you know, you have to enjoy eating this as well. Just going to. So, and I love using this because it doesn't use power. You can take it while you're camping. You can take it. Oh, so that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. Not too crunched up. Some nice chunks. All right. Okay. Then all we're going to do is we're just going to mix this. And notice how it's a little thick, and I want it to be a little creamier, more like muffin batter. So I'm just going to add just a little bit more milk. So, and that's good. There we go. That's the texture we want. So, and then look at all those colors. The oranges from the carrots, the brown from all the flowers, that darker brown from the raisins. So, all right. We're going to take a bread loaf. We are going to use a little bit of parchment paper. We don't need to line this with butter or anything, because we're going to take a slice of parchment paper, and that will help us. The slice of parchment paper will help us to pick up the bread when it comes out of the oven. And we'll just fold that over. Fits in there nicely. We're just going to push it around so it's nice and smooth on the top. So, and this is what your bread is going to look like before. Now what we're going to do is we're going to place this in a 350-degree oven for roughly an hour. Check it, and it might need to go an extra 15-20 minutes. Mine had to go an extra 20 minutes. Here is our finished gluten-free carrot chai bread. Ta-da! This is why the parchment paper makes it so easy. You just slide this along the edges. Then you pull up, set it on the plate, and there you go. You have a beautiful piece of loaf of bread. I'm going to slice this so you can see how beautiful it looks. So, and there's our walnuts and our raisins and our carrots. We're just going to grab couple of slices, and then you can add butter, you can add some or cream cheese. You can add a little, drizzle a little honey on it if you want. Here we go. So now you can enjoy gluten-free bread at home. Thank you. Would you guys like a sample? Gluten-free carrot chai bread. So it is delicious though. Yep. Grab. Like these? Okay. Carrots and raisins and walnuts. You're welcome.
Sounds very tasty.
It's actually gluten for bread. Right. Isn't that good?
I assume because we were focused on
I didn't know you could make this without gluten in it.
but I just wanted to try to get some.
Isn't that amazing?
And there's always room
To
to
the resident gluten-free person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so now this has got 4 different flours in it. It's got carrots, it's got raisins, and it's got walnuts in it.
Yes.
So grab a slice,
Okay.
tell me what you think.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Yep. I would warm it up a little bit. Now that you've been walking around, but
Yeah.
it's so good.
I have a bunch if you're welcome to grab.
I will eat more later. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sweetie.
Is gluten-free a choice or a necessity?
I'm allergic to gluten. I don't have celiac disease, but I have an intolerance. And I was tested last summer, I guess. But I've been gluten-free for several years, just because it was genetic. My mom said that I would definitely have it, so yeah, I've eaten gluten-free for a few years. But it is hard. It's hard to find bread, and I'm not a super bread person anyway. But this is almost like a cake. It's awesome.
It is.
So
It is, yes.
I love it.
You like it?
I like the
What do you find intriguing about gluten-free?
Well, I love to bake, and I do not have to be gluten-free, but I have quite a few friends that do, and I also have a friend whose daughter is gluten-free, and it's very hard for her to be gluten-free because as a teenager she wants to eat what everybody else is eating. You know, she wants to go to the restaurants that everybody else goes to, and sometimes that's very hard for her. You know, she's like, everybody just thinks you can, you know, live on salad, and that's so easy to make gluten-free. But bread is a much harder item to make gluten-free. And as you can tell, we used 5 different flours, you know, a couple of different breads, a lot of seasoning. There is a lot that goes into making just one loaf of bread. Whereas with regular flour, you just grab the wheat, you grab the you know, the white flour, you know, whichever one you want, and you're done. There's no blending of all those flours. And I think that that's just really interesting that you can make something that still tastes good, that tastes good for everybody to eat. It's not one of those, oh, it's good for gluten-free. Oh, it's good for, you know, you want it to be good. You don't want that to be there, it's good for. You want it to just taste good, have everybody, you know, clamoring for a slice, clamoring for a piece, you know, just enjoying it. And to me, food needs to be enjoyed by everybody who's there. Not just one person or one group, but everybody who's there should enjoy that same, you know, same slice of bread or same loaf, or, you know, just everybody should enjoy it.
And that's sort of where a lot of people get hung up in thinking about things like gluten-free. They feel like they're going to sacrifice the flavor
Yes.
in exchange for, I think there's this idea out there that people think that healthy doesn't taste good.
I think that is very true, that people think that healthy doesn't taste good, and I think that that is such a misnomer. I think that you can have anything taste good. You just have to be a little creative about it sometimes, and you have to definitely be willing to experiment and try new things. And to me, that's what baking and cooking is all about, trying something new. You know, get out of your comfort zone. Just because, you know, grandma made it the same way she's made it for generations doesn't mean you can't add a little something to it. You know, modernize the flavors a little bit, change it up. That's what baking is. There wouldn't be so many cookbooks out there if people didn't enjoy messing with recipes. And what else can you mess with except food and have it turn out wonderful?
What about the texture? Does it differ from a conventional version?
The gluten-free breads can be a little grittier than a flour, and I think it's because of some of the processing. Some of the flours don't get the same processing like just white flour gets. So I think that's sometimes where you get that little different texture from, but for the most part it's very similar. And once you mix it up and bake it, it's even harder to tell, as long as it's been made well. I mean, like anything else, there are, gluten-free products that are not as nice as other gluten-free products, which is why I really like using that Bob's Red Mill, because it's always a nice quality, it's always a nice consistency, it always works well, whether you use just their flours or you use their prepackaged pancakes and cake mixes. It's always a nice product. We have a lot of gluten-free items at the East Lansing Food Co-op, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to make this bread as well, just to showcase the fact that we do have a lot of gluten-free items. And you can look on our shelf tags, and there is a little blue tag that says gluten-free next to products that have gluten-free, have a gluten-free logo on their label. So there are a lot of groups. We have joined the Lansing Gluten Free Fair group, and they put on like a convention of sorts where it's a lot of gluten-free people that make products that you can go and purchase or see that they are there, and it is just a wonderful. They do it at one of the churches here in Lansing, and it's on its 7th year, I believe. And when you're walking through, it's amazing what you can find that's gluten-free. There's chips, there's breads, there's specialty foods, Mexican foods and things like that you wouldn't think would be gluten-free that are available, which is very, very nice, because nobody wants to eat the same thing every day. And it's nice to be able to branch out and try different things. Dude, that's all my ingredients, my man.
Just a second.
Just picking on you.
We are going to get rid of this shadow. We have to blast it away.
Even if your retinas dry up, Amy, we are going to get rid of this light if it kills you.
Yep.
I don't care.
That's very bright.
I don't care if you go blind. Is that what you think? Love you too, man. It is so much thicker. Maybe it's on clearance. Maybe it's freezing. I've never had to do this. Oh, it's the cream at the top. We have at the East Lansing Food Co-op, we have many gluten-free options that are available, and on our shelves we have added little tags that are blue that say gluten-free on them. So it's just an easy way when you're walking down the aisle and you're curious to know if that's gluten-free. It's a quick way for you to be able to tell. So, and now it doesn't showcase all of the gluten-free items. Some of that you're gonna have to read labels, but it helps while you're shopping. It helps while you're shopping. Okay, and that was good. I was on a roll too.